John returned home utterly exhausted after a demanding week at work. All he craved was a calm dinner followed by sleep. But the moment he stepped through the door, he froze. Kelly, his wife, walked from the living room toward the kitchen. She wasn't in her usual cozy loungewear. Instead, she wore a sleek black dress that outlined her figure, something more suited for nightlife than a relaxed evening at home. Surprised and curious, John followed her into the kitchen. She leaned against the counter, jotting something on a notepad. When she noticed him, she looked up with a warm smile. "It's so nice to have you home," she said softly. John frowned, his eyes flicking back to her dress. "What's going on? Why are you dressed like that?" "I'm going on a date," Kelly replied casually, her tone light. John blinked, stunned. "A date? Well, technically, it's a bachelorette party," she clarified with a small laugh. "Lisa, Julie, and Emily are celebrating. One of them is getting married. They invited me." "A bachelorette party," John repeated, eyeing her outfit. "And you're wearing that." Kelly glanced at her reflection in the oven door, smoothing the fabric with a smile. "Yeah, is that bad? I think it looks amazing." "It looks too amazing," John muttered. "There's no such thing," Kelly teased with a playful snort. "There is," John said firmly. "If you're a married woman and your friends aren't." Kelly raised an eyebrow. "So what? You're afraid I'm going out without you?" "Exactly," John admitted, his voice tight. "I see how men look at you even when I'm there. If I'm not around, they'll do more than just look." Kelly stepped closer, her hands resting gently on his shoulders as she gazed into his eyes. "Do you trust me?" she asked quietly. "Of course I do," John said, though unease weighed down his words. "Then trust that I just want to enjoy a fun night with the girls. Dance a little, laugh a little, and come home to you." "I trust you, Kelly," John replied after a pause. "But I know how you are. You like attention. Harmless flirting can turn into something else, especially after a few drinks." Kelly bit her lip, considering his words. "Are you saying I can't go?" "I'm not saying that," John answered carefully. "I know you love these parties. I'm just worried about what could happen." She stayed quiet, thinking. She understood his point, even if she didn't want to admit it. Still, she wasn't ready to give up the night she'd been anticipating. Then suddenly she brightened. "What if you came too?" she suggested. "To a bachelorette party?" John asked, frowning. "No, not with me," Kelly clarified. "But to the same club. You could be nearby. That way you'd know I'm safe." John hesitated. The thought of Kelly dancing with other men still unsettled him. But being close by, that seemed tolerable. "Okay," he said finally. "Give me 10 minutes to change." Kelly's face lit up as she threw her arms around him. "Thank you," she squealed, nearly bouncing with excitement. She tugged him toward the bedroom, already rummaging through his closet. "We're going to that new club on 3rd Street, she explained, holding up a crisp shirt. "You know, the one with the red lights." "Yeah, I know it," John replied, shaking his head but smiling despite himself. As they left the house, Kelly glanced at him, her eyes sparkling with reassurance. "You'll know where I am in the club, so you can find me easily." "I think this is a good idea," John admitted as they walked to their cars. Before getting in, he caught her hands, pulling her close. He looked into her eyes. "Kelly, I trust you. I just don't want anything happening that we'll regret tomorrow." "I don't want that either," she said tenderly. "I think you being there is perfect. I can still enjoy myself and feel safe." "Okay." "I love you," John whispered. "I love you too," Kelly replied before they got into their cars and drove off. John arrived at the club early, parked, and stepped inside. The atmosphere pulsed with energy, lights flashing, music pounding, the dance floor alive. He picked a spot with a clear view, ordered a drink, and waited. 15 minutes later, Kelly walked in with her friends. The group was laughing, vibrant, and full of energy as they claimed a table near the dance floor. Almost immediately, they ordered drinks and headed into the crowd. John's eyes naturally followed Kelly. Before long, A confident brunette approached him. "Want to dance?" she asked with an inviting smile. John hesitated, then stood. "Sure." They danced through a couple of songs before he returned to his seat. That's when he noticed Kelly, dancing with a man in a red shirt at the far end of the floor. The brunette leaned in, curious. "Okay, who is she?" "Who?" John asked, feigning ignorance. "The blonde in the black dress," she said knowingly. "Wife or girlfriend?" John sighed. "That blonde, the one in the black dress dancing with the guy in red, that's my wife." "She's gorgeous," the brunette remarked. "So, you're spying on her?" "No," John said firmly. "She knows I'm here." "So, you're the kind of guy who likes to watch his wife have fun with other men?" she teased with a sly grin. "Hell no," John snapped, offended. "Then why are you here?" "Because I trust her," he said evenly. "But I don't trust every other man in this place. And honestly, I trust her even less when she's been drinking." John came home drained after an exhausting week at work. All he longed for was a quiet dinner and then collapsing into bed. But the moment he stepped inside, he froze. Kelly, his wife, walked past him toward the kitchen. She wasn't in her usual relaxed clothes. Instead, she wore a striking black dress that shaped her figure perfectly, a dress made for a night out, not a calm evening at home. His curiosity stirred. John followed her into the kitchen. She stood by the counter, scribbling quickly on a notepad. When she noticed him at the doorway, she lifted her head and smiled warmly. "It's so good to have you home," she said softly. John frowned, motioning toward her dress. "What's going on? Why are you dressed like that?" "I'm going on a date," Kelly replied lightly, her tone playful. John's eyes widened. "A date? Well, technically it's a bachelorette party," she explained with a soft laugh. "Lisa, Julie, and Emily are celebrating one of them getting married, and they invited me." "A bachelorette party," John repeated, his gaze drifting to the sleek dress. "And you're wearing that?" Kelly turned slightly, catching her reflection in the oven door. She smoothed the fabric with her hand and smiled. "Yeah. Is that a problem?" "I think it looks great." "Too great," John muttered. "There's no such thing as too great," Kelly replied with a playful snort. "There is if you're married and your friends aren't," John countered, his voice firm. Kelly arched an eyebrow. "So, you're worried about me going without you?" "Exactly," John admitted. "I see how men look at you even when I'm standing there. If I'm not, they'll do more than stare." Kelly stepped closer, her soft hands brushing his shoulders as her eyes met his. "Do you trust me?" she asked gently. "Of course I do," John said, though concern weighed on his voice. "Then trust that I just want to enjoy a night with the girls," Kelly whispered. "Dance, laugh, and come home to you." John hesitated, brow furrowed. "I trust you, Kelly. But I know you. You enjoy attention. A little playful flirting can go too far. And after a couple of drinks..." His words faded. Kelly bit her lip, considering. "Are you saying I shouldn't go?" "I'm not saying that," John answered carefully. "I know how much you've been looking forward to this. I'm just worried." Kelly stayed silent, mulling over his concerns. She didn't want to cancel the night she'd been excited about, but she also couldn't ignore the unease in his tone. Then an idea sparked. "What if you came too?" she suggested suddenly. "To a bachelorette party?" John asked skeptically. "No, not with me," Kelly clarified. "But to the same club. You could stay nearby. That way you'd know I'm safe." John paused. The thought of her dancing with other men still stung, but being close enough to watch eased his nerves. "All right," he said at last. "Give me 10 minutes to change." Kelly's face lit up as she threw her arms around him. "Thank you," she squealed, nearly bouncing. Grabbing his hand, she tugged him into the bedroom and rifled through his closet. "We're going to that new club on 3rd Street, she said, holding up a crisp shirt. "You know, the one with the red lights." "Yeah, I know it," John replied, shaking his head with a small smile. As they prepared to leave, Kelly turned to him, her eyes gentle and reassuring. You'll know where to find me. John nodded, appreciating her effort to calm his worries. They walked to their cars, but before climbing in, John stopped her. Holding her hands, pulling her close, he looked into her eyes. Kelly, I trust you. I just don't want anything happening that we'll regret tomorrow. Her smile softened. I don't want that either. This way I can enjoy myself, and you won't have to worry. I love you, John said tenderly. I love you too, Kelly replied before they both got into their cars and drove off. When John arrived at the club, it was already alive with energy. Music pulsed through the air, the dance floor packed with bodies moving in rhythm. He found a table with a good view, ordered a drink, and settled in. 15 minutes later, Kelly entered with her friends, their laughter ringing above the noise as they grabbed a table near the dance floor. Almost at once, they ordered drinks and joined the crowd. John's eyes instinctively tracked Kelly as she twirled and swayed. While he watched, a confident brunette approached. Want to dance? She asked with a bright smile. John hesitated, then nodded. Sure. They danced through a couple of songs before he returned to his seat. That's when he noticed Kelly, dancing with a man in a red shirt across the floor. The brunette leaned closer. So, who is she? Who? John asked, pretending not to know. The blonde in the black dress. Wife or girlfriend? John sighed. That's my wife. She's stunning, the brunette said. So, are you spying on her? No, John said firmly. She knows I'm here. So you're the type who enjoys watching your wife with other men? She teased slyly. Hell no, John snapped. Then why are you here? Because I trust her, he said evenly. But I don't trust the men around her. And honestly, I trust her even less when she's been drinking. As the night wore on, Kelly loosened up, maybe too much. She wasn't fending off wandering hands like before, and John's discomfort grew. Finally, when Kelly slumped into her chair, clearly tired, John knew it was time. He walked over, offered his hand with a smile. May I have this dance? He asked playfully. Kelly looked up, her eyes hazy with drink. Oh hi honey. Sure. He led her for one last gentle dance before guiding her out of the club. She was so intoxicated that he had to support her all the way to the car. The next morning, over coffee, John carefully brought it up. Kelly, why do you feel the need for nights like that? Kelly lowered her gaze, her voice small. I guess I just wanted to feel wanted. After all these years of marriage, sometimes I feel invisible. John reached across the table, holding her hand. You're not invisible to me. You're the most important person in my life. Kelly's eyes softened. You show me that every day, but maybe we both let the spark fade. John nodded, a faint smile forming. Then let's start fresh. Tonight, it's just us. Dinner, dancing, whatever you want. Kelly smiled, her shoulders relaxing. Even dancing. Even dancing, John said with a grin. But only with me. That evening they reignited their love, not just as a couple, but as true partners rediscovering each other. It wasn't just another date. It was the start of a new chapter in their marriage, built on love, trust, and the promise never to lose sight of one another again.